We're chasing comedy, working on jokes, working on bits, seeing what sticks, seeing what stinks. We're Brian and Dustin, and we're chasing comedy.
All right. So I got this bit about white people stealing the word woke from black people. Did I tell you about this one?
Okay, that wasn't exactly what I was trying to say, but it was part of a larger narrative. But
well, that's like
Dustin,
that's the third video. Like he has like 5 different versions of it.
No. I understand that, and it's like one of those things that I think what my angle was trying to be was at first it was like. Now I want it to be that the fact that I'm just not good. I just can't be woke because I don't have the time.
The time to be woke. Yeah. No. I'm just saying that Bill Burr is, it's really kind of his thing. Yeah. It's like he's really gone and, I saw something where it's like, I guess it was Antiochumia or whatever. And they were just basically saying that like they were acting like he's out of the business. They were like, he's taking a fall and he used to be this edgy Boston comedian. And now everybody hates him. And like, it was a clip on basically saying that he's just like no more. And you're like, what are you talking about? If anybody's no more, it's the guy from Opie and Anthony.
Well, it's funny, but it's really weird. There's this whole thing now, and it basically was based on two things or whatever, where he just didn't go with the narrative that is. I don't even know how to describe it. He's critical of Trump, he's critical of Musk, and game over. He's not on our side anymore. And I'm like, who? Yeah. Since when did comics? I don't get it. I don't. It's so weird to me that we're supposed to bow to any ideology or any particular politician. We're supposed to. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't get it.
Yeah. We're all on the same page on that. I think what it is like, just like there's a lot of, when I first started comedy, it was the Blue Collar Comedy Tour was like the Southern comedy. And then it was like, I shot a pilot with like all these people and everybody was trying to get in on it because it was an audience. And I think like now it's almost like this is the new version of that. This is like the audience of people that, want you to talk about certain things and not talk about certain things. Is an audience for comedians.
But this is fascinating because there's the perception. I think it really tipped over when he criticized Musk. He made fun of Musk. And because Musk is the Twitter guy who came in and opened
He celebrates Trump.
Who? Musk?
Burr. He celebrates how he doesn't care and he's hilarious. And like he never really goes in as hard as he does on Musk. I think it's the
that's
Musk.
And so why is So that's what I mean. His criticism of Musk is the thing that triggered all of this antipathy. Am I right about this? Because Burr went in all hard on Musk. It's just he's a nerd. Why are we worshiping this guy? He's got a hair weave. He's got a hair weave, and this guy couldn't get laid, and everyone on Twitter flipped out.
He basically ruined the hair transplant business. You know what I mean? Like it's like there were a lot of us like, hey, maybe I got a turkey, and then you're just like, dude, I don't want to look like Musk. So now now it's like he ruined that whole thing.
So I'm just kind of at a loss to really explain that suddenly Elon Musk criticism of Musk, making fun of Musk, making jokes about Musk. Well, we can't do that. It's like, why not? Like, why are we? What did I miss? Did I miss a memo? What happened?
I think we can, and we are, and that's what's happening in good comedy. You know, people are going after whoever. You know, that's the thing. What's great about Burr is like the video that I sent you, it's like he's going after pronoun people and all that stuff. So that's I just think it's funny where it's just like one little thing and then now he's like the worst comic in the world and he dropped off and you're like, dude, the guy's
right. I don't
bigger.
Understand.
It makes
that's
it
exactly what I'm saying. Like where people would. I thought it would be the comedian people would be like, we'd be like. Yeah, he's going after everybody. That's what Burr does. You know,
well, that guy's not a comedian. That's the problem. Most of the people are going after him, not comedians, and they stop being funny. You know, Jim Breuer stopped being funny. You know, there's certain people that just stopped being funny. They were hilarious when you didn't know. I should know what your views are on a lot of things. You know what I mean? I don't need to know that you're a Methodist. I don't need to know that you vote for whoever. Like, I don't want to know that. You know what I mean? I should know, like, who you are by maybe your T-shirt. You wear a funny thing on your shirt or something, you know?
Okay, but is that true? Because, I mean, I knew where Carlin stood. I knew where Hicks stood. I mean, in a lot of things.
I don't know. I think Carlin and Hicks were very much on both sides of the kind of, you know, we'll probably lean left, but it's not. But they never outright said, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. They never did that. Neither one of them.
No.
You know, they basically mocked the whole system, but that's, you know, that's not saying I believe this. That's not saying that's not what that is. I'm talking about people that are wearing the badge that are just like constant political, you know, stuff on their social media.
Yeah, I don't really get that.
And then their audience is basically a rally, you know,
I'm amazed by that. I'm totally amazed by that.
There's people you'll never sell out as much as they do because they have leaned into this group of people and they all come out and support. Because the thing
I don't get it.
Well, I get it. I get it 100%. I get it 100%.
Well, I mean, I get it but are you saying it's a pose and it's a grift? Like, I hate when people go.
Not at all. I'm telling you, like I said in the beginning, it's the new blue collar. Like, it's just something now. It's this. It's either family friendly, which is what Nate is, or it's this, which is this is my belief system. And so I'm gonna support this comedian because they believe what I believe, which is a weird thing.
That's what I love about Burr, because he like when even though I always hated that cliche of equal opportunity offender, I never liked that. I always hated that term. Like, I'm an equal opportunity offender, which was usually to describe someone who can take on all of the great any position, who can take on any issue and not be funny with any of them. Right?
Well, you get ballsy when you finally make your money. It's like you start to say, all right, I'm gonna come clean on, you know, like Tim Allen, certain people. Once when they made all their money, and then they're like, this is what I believe, Roseanne, whatever. You know, people just, you know, they feel like they get to that point. You don't have to worry about money. Even if you get canceled on something, you still got so much money, you could keep going in another direction, get another audience. And that's what's the beauty of this audience. It's brilliant, this audience that leans into these kind of comics, because they will lift you up when the other side takes you down. And they will sell out places, and they will support you, and they'll buy your stuff, and they'll watch your TV shows, and they'll do all that stuff. So it's pretty amazing. I'm kind of jealous, to be honest with you, because I feel like I've never been able to, you know, find the lane of audience that I've, you know, looked for. You know what I mean? I feel like,
well, how about funny? How about the funny lane?
Well, let me finish this. I feel like that's not enough. That's what the kids got. That's what TikTok is. That's what, you know, that audience is. You know, I think those audiences are coming out and supporting. But I don't know. But I think you need something. You can't just be funny. How many funny people are? I mean, nobody knows who Greg Rigel is. He's a brilliant comic. It doesn't matter about funny. Funny doesn't mean anything. You know that. I mean, come on. Funny's easy.
Well, no. Of course, I understand. I understand that you could be really funny and be unsuccessful or not famous or
no. But I've always tried to, like. Oh, I'm such a sellout. I've tried all the angles and just failed miserably.
So you've been trying to sell out for years. You just haven't found the right niche.
Absolutely. It ain't wait a minute. We need to be this show. I'll tell you that.
All right. We need to be okay. We need to find an angle for Dustin to sell out.
No. Yes. Let me finish, and you'll see where I'm going. You just want to jump in. It's not radio. The thing is I've tried that Southern thing. I was like, I'm the cowboy guy. Yeah. I'm from Texas. I'll be that guy. And it was just like, and I tried to ride that train of blue collar. And it was like George W. was president. So I was like the Southern thing. And then I was like, all right, that sucks. Let's try Native American. So I tried that. I tried the Native American angle. didn't quite work. Now where I'm at is I'm selling out my sobriety. I'm trying to get people that are in recovery to support my comedy.
That's the thing? Yeah, you're going to lean into that?
Absolutely. My new special is going to be called Keeping It Clean. It's going to be all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic.
It's part of who I am. And so it's not like I'm not this thing. It's not like I'm Carlos Mencia in this thing.
Right.
Trying to get like I am from Texas. I am part native. All those things are real. It's just, there's not an audience for it, It's just like this. This is geared towards comedians, and so it's a tough audience. Like I feel like everything I try to do is, I don't know. It's getting an audience. It's difficult.
Yeah, but maybe. So now you're giving me ideas because now I want to start drinking, just so I can possibly. Because I can't even lean into that because I never was into that. So that's not an avenue for me.
You're one of those weirdos, and that is a group as well. There's a there's a group of weirdos out there that never really drank and did drugs, and those people need each other too, and they need a leader. And you're that weirdo leader that never partied. Because the rest of us, either Adam. He's okay having a hangover. Me, I had to quit because. You didn't quit.
That's funny.
Did you quit, Adam? No, you're out there.
I slow down tremendously.
Okay. Yeah,
I can't handle the hangovers anymore. It's just too brutal.
All right, so you're not a wild man like the karaoke Prince video I saw of you. You're not going to Vegas.
No,
and singing
that
Prince
was
songs.
that was about 10 years ago. I calmed down a lot after.
Well, you can have a drink. You can have a drink and you're normal. I can't. And then Brian never did really. So it's like there's
I wasn't good at it. I was not good at it. I just wasn't.
I wasn't either.
Yeah,
getting in fist fights on stage. But weren't you able to have a good time for a brief window? Like meaning that I didn't even get that. Like I would just get depressed and low energy, and then I would pass out. And it was like I never got the fun of it, I never had the brief window. Yeah, I mean it's just like your stand up, like when I see your stand up, it's full of this passion and this energy. And that's how you have to give alcoholism. You gotta give it all you committed. Got. Yeah.
You mean I wasn't committed to it? Yeah.
You gotta because weed used to make me do that. It made me pass out and paranoid and shy and whatever. And that's why I can never keep up with people in New York because everybody's smoking it made me tired. But cocaine solved that. And then, whiskey took it to another place. And then, you kind of mix it around. And then you're just like comedy. You find a closer and an opener,
Right.
And you figure it out. You mishmash and you drop a thing and you do, hey! Next thing you know, you have no shirt on. You're walking in the streets of Canada. How'd I get here? Things happen. But
there you go.
It's everything. It's just like everything. You have to have passion. You gotta go all in. I don't think it was your thing.
I wasn't committed. I wasn't committed to alcohol. I wasn't committed.
I'm just saying, Brian, I think you would have been a great alcoholic if you just applied yourself a little more. I think you could have been a great alcoholic if you had just taken the time and the effort and to put into it. I think you could have figured it out. If we had been friends back then, I think I could have helped you through it.
You could have helped me. But I had no mentors. I had no one to guide me.
You have to. Oh, you have to have a mentor. You got to have a bad friend.
Where the hell were you, Dustin?
Well,
I had no one.
We were probably in the same realm, just not the same circle. Like I feel we were. Yeah. You were a little bit ahead of me. Comedically, you were always a little bit ahead of me, and then we kind of. I think the comic strip was kind of the neutral ground. Certain clubs become neutral grounds for comedians. Where it's just like. You find yourself with people that are, doing better than you. And you're like, oh, but hey, we're still at this place. And so that's what the comedy
Speaking of which,
yes.
Speaking of comedy.
Please keep going.
No, I'm thinking of, I want to do maybe giving this away is bad, but I want to do a sketch where we do a crowd work clip.
Okay.
I want to do crowd work
clips.
Or
what are you talking about? Just you?
No, I want to do crowd work clips.
Okay.
But I want them rehearsed and scripted. Right?
Okay.
I want to treat it like it's Scorsese.
Gotcha.
Where every line is scripted. Like we show the rehearsal process of the crowd work. I don't know. To me, that's funny. Just so that what goes into a crowd work clip and how much pre-preparation there is and lighting and getting the right timing and getting the right shot, setting the cameras up and getting the heckler to say the line correctly.
Hey, Adam, I feel like you're about to lose a Saturday.
Right.
Right. I think, it's like, look, if I have a script in front of me and you're going to yell, I had your mother, but that's your line.
I like it.
And,
that's funny.
And we want you to.
You make it very like actor studio and stuff. It's funny. I like it. It's funny. Yeah, it's funny.
Something like that.
Some people have done like fake stuff. I remember like Pauly Shore did some fake thing and pretended to get punched and stuff, and took a hit and like kind of went down. It was like somebody he knew or whatever. And I think people do that kind of stuff. But I think your thing is making more fun of it, where you're just like putting more production into making fun of that.
Look, it's not that original idea. I'll bet somebody's already covered this, but I love the idea of having a film crew where we're just hours and hours of setting up the shot.
Well, it's Andy Kaufman. Andy Kaufman started the whole thing. He was the originator in the fake heckle,
Right.
With Bob Zamuda in that fat suit and just kind of going after him. I mean, it was always, Tony Clifton was the original fake heckle situation, And so it was great.
That always bordered on, it was so committed. There was no wink in that, right? Like you remember that? Like there was absolutely no wink. It was so almost disturbing to the point of almost not being funny, just funny enough to qualify as comedy. But it always struck me, some of that stuff always struck me as right on the border, and which is part of the, kind of brilliance of it a bit. But I always thought that it lacked the fun of because I always thought Andy was going to get hurt when what's his name punched him, like on the Letterman
that slap
show,
was real. That was a real slap. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But that Andy probably said, "Slap me real," or whatever, So,
but that's what Eric Andre's doing, and there's a lot of people that are kind of taking that on and making that part of their shtick or whatever. But he's got a show. He was looking online, looking for comics with bomb stories for his podcast.
Oh, really?
He's looking for comics to share bomb story. I've never bombed, but my name is Sinbad. But did you hear that? Wait. Sinbad said he never bombed. He was like,
really?
He made a public statement. He goes, "I've never bombed." Like
really?
Like a full on press thing where he's like, "I've never bombed."
Well, maybe he didn't.
Well, I've never seen you. I've never seen you really bomb. You're one of those you have a master of the energy that you need to pull off a set. Not all of us have that.
I appreciate what you're saying, and I people have said that to me. They go, "I can't picture you bombing," or but trust me, wow. I have had many, but I've also whenever I bombed, I've learned something from it, so built another brick in the wall for the next time of it. But you never build enough of an armor shell around you, all of your defenses and all of your stuff. You can't always plan for every contingency. That was always my thing. Plan for a contingency. If you throw me in front of I'm sure you know this too. You're a road jockey, and you've done all of those hell gigs in VFW halls and fucking biker bars. And when you do enough of those, you build up a repertoire of arrows in your quiver that you can whip out in those situations to save you. But sometimes you're hit with something that you cannot fight, and they're a new monster that you've never faced.
Yeah, I had a gig once, and I was pretty excited about it. It was like a New Year's Eve show, and it was, it's like $1,000 or whatever, which is always a good thing. One night, $1,000, boom, you're happy. And I was happy. It was like, I got a good gig, got a hotel, whole thing's great, food, whole thing's great. And the thing was, they're doing a cowboy theme. Speaking of the cowboy stuff, and so they had, I don't know if I told you the story, and they had a country band, and then they had the country comedian, and then they had a rope guy. And the thing is,
rope tricks.
Yeah,
okay.
I would rather follow Dave Chappelle. I would rather follow George Carlin, 89. I would rather follow Richard Pryor, 78. I would rather follow anything but the rope guy. And so what happened was they had the rope guy goes on first, and like he's serious too. He's got ropes in little rope cases. Like I saw him in the elevator, and he's got like all these like rope cases and like the special ropes that he uses. And then he goes out there, and they're playing like disco music and lights, laser light show, and he just starts going, dude. And he's just like lassoing. He's jumping through them. He's doing real big ones and walking through them. He's like, he's hitting stools and pulling them towards him. Like he's phenomenal.
Oh my goodness!
And I had half a cold, so one of those sets, and it was just like I had to follow this guy, and it was just 3 minutes in. The thing was, they did this thing, which is never good for a comic, where so I had to stay on the stage where the band was about to play, and that was my zone. But there was a dance floor because it's New Year's Eve, and so all the seats are like a dance floor away. So it's literally like at the end of the basketball court is where my audience is. And I have to follow the rope guy, and I have no connection, because when you're a rope guy, you don't need connection because you got this thing that's happening, and they're into it. So,
well, that's just even funny that a rope guy. I've never even, you know what I mean? Like, that is one of the rare. That's not something that I would have like prepared for. Hey, what do you do? Anybody know what you do when you follow a rope guy? I
didn't even know I didn't know they had rope guys. I didn't know this was the thing, but apparently it is. He's a rope guy, and he's into it. I remember my dad put on a boxing match, like my parents were in boxing promoting. I don't know if I tell this story. And there was a jump rope guy where he learned how to jump rope in prison, but he could do all these tricks, and so we put him up in between the rounds or whatever, like in between fights.
Yeah, I want to hear the rest of the story, like because Bill Hicks had to go up after the guy who shoved the Roman candle up his butt. Did you hear that story?
No, it sounds
in
fun.
Montreal. There was a famous story where Hicks had to go up after the guy shot Roman candles out of his.
Well, I mean. This wasn't quite that, but it was pretty amazing. And so I get up, and I'm kind of trying to follow this energy that's happening and trying to do the best I can. Then you try to make fun of the rope guy, which is never good. When they love a guy, and you're just like, that guy. I hope he's. I bet I said something like, hope he never gets suicidal, because he's got all those ropes and like nobody. One of those.
That's funny. Or you're going to be suicidal after the show.
Yeah, I think at one point in the middle of it, I go, "Can I have something? Can I have that rope?" But it's like, funny. But I was it was so far away, and so I tried to do the Rickles thing, and I was just like, all right, I gotta go to the audience. So, but as soon as I grabbed the cordless mic, as soon as I started walking towards the audience to get after them, it reverb, and like just beeping and loud. They couldn't hear me, and like it was just a nightmare. And it was just, it was a total bomb, and it was just like one of those just like uncomfortable, and you get pissed, and you're mad that you didn't, because there's a thing in comedy where I feel like at this point in my life, when I do a gig and I walk in, because I've done this before, I've walked into gigs since that gig and said, nope, stage is too far away. I got to move the chairs up.
Right.
Move the chairs up. Nope, it's too bright in here. Bring that down. Nope, I need a spot. Yeah. Give me something. You go buy a lamp. I need something.
Sure.
Like now I'm more on top of what the elements are that's needed for stand-up. But in that situation, and then in the future, if somebody says you got to follow a rope guy,
what to do in that scenario.
Yeah, but I'll never follow a rope guy again. I'll tell you that. If somebody goes, I got 10 grand, you got to follow a rope guy. I go, nope. I'll do it for $2, but I don't have to follow the rope guy.
Yeah, I don't want to follow the rope guy.
Your mic went out.
Sorry. Sorry. Yep. That's pretty brutal. I can't even. I don't have anything to top that.
You don't have to top it. I don't want you to top it. I wouldn't want anybody to go through that. I don't even wish that on my comedy enemies.
Imagine like I have to follow a rope guy because comedy is fragile enough, like with all of the things we have to put up with.
What are you doing?
You have to deal with.
Get your stuff together. What's going on?
I'm sorry.
All right, there we go.
Comedy is fragile enough without having to deal with like the various and sundry the mentality of an audience after they've seen a rope. Well, who's the guy? Stevie Starr, the guy who used to swallow stuff and vomit it up. Remember him?
No,
remember?
No.
You don't remember him?
No. Where was that? Catch Rising Star? Like, where was that at?
Yes, Catch a Rising Star, Princeton. No, Catch a Rising Star, Princeton. They booked him.
Okay.
And he was actually kind of famous for a while. He would swallow quarters. Like, he would swallow things and then cough them up.
So gross.
That was his act. And it wasn't a comic. He was just this weird, it was like a weird magic act. And I don't know how you sustain that for 45 minutes, but they booked him at Catch in Princeton. I remember a comedian said he was there that weekend with him, and they had to fire him because people were throwing up. And he was like people were sickened by his act. And if you Google Stevie Starr, wow. Adam's doing it right now. He was like the great regurgitator or something. He was like the great regurgitator or something.
I bet that guy bought a house. You know what I mean? I bet he. It's like I bet he made enough '80s money that he probably
because he would swallow a dime, a nickel, and a quarter, and he would say, "What do you want me to throw up first?" And he would cough it up.
So gross.
It was crazy. I think it was on Letterman. I think it was on Letterman.
Of course. Yeah, Stupid human tricks. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
The professional regurgitator. There he is. That's him. Yep.
Oh, and he got on AGT. What are you going to do?
One of the weirdest things. And I remember the guy telling me he worked with him and going, yeah, it was a nightmare. That not following us. He didn't last because they said people were sickened by it. So I don't know who wants to do that? Like I did ayahuasca. That was bad enough vomiting. I don't on my own.
I mean, I don't know how that starts. Do you say, all right, I'm a bulimic and I need to make some money off of this. So
yeah, there you go. There you go. He monetized his affliction.
It's like me. That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. You just everybody's trying to monetize. You got to get that audience.
You got to find your angle. You got to find your niche. Okay. Well, that's thank you for finding that. Is that like current? Because that looks like an old.
Well, AGT is
appearing anywhere. That's
what I'm looking to see.
Where's he booked next? Let's get him on the show.
We just throw up.
Yeah. I mean, if you can turn that into a career, bulimia.
That was the 80s, it was like, because there was guys that were just like, phone book guys. You could they would know zip codes. There was just weird stuff going on in the 80s. You know what I mean? And they're like a guy that's like he knows every zip code or something. He knows, you say like Dallas, and he goes 214, and he just knows. There's all this guy. There's these weird, there was like Amazing Jonathan guys who I think were really great, but then there was other guys that were just like weird, half magic, half weird, whatever. I don't know. Yeah. There was a lot of. It was a pretty open field in like 82.
Right.
People were just kind of experimenting and doing weird stuff. And some of it was cool. And some of it was just, ridiculous.
Right.
But we used to make fun of like Michael Winslow. And then I saw a thing on him doing like Led Zeppelin. And I was like, this guy is so talented. But when it came out, we were like, this dork from Police Academy. But you look back and you're like, that guy, the skills of being able to make those sounds was phenomenal. Right.
Yeah. No,
I bet he made millions off it too. Like he was really good at it, and it was a weird. That's another one that it was more applause breaky than it was funny.
Yeah.
But people loved it. People love a sound guy. Now you do sounds, it feels hacky. But he kind of.
That's another thing. Like when you think about it, what is it about a particular act that like people go, oh, the rope guy, that's kind of interesting. Juggling, there's always those guys that are jugglers and magicians. And
I do a comedy magic club in Hermosa, and it's always like sometimes you'll follow a guy with a chainsaw and a bowling ball, and and it's like and you're like, you're like, come on, man, can I just follow the
Well, what about you must have worked with have you ever worked with the hypnotist guys, the stage hypnotist guys, right?
I did Boris the hypnotist, I think is his name. He's a big guy, big Boris. I did his club, but I've never worked with a hypnotist. I think
you've never worked with a stage hypnotist?
No, I know. I've seen it, but I've never I couldn't follow it.
I've worked with two of them. I can't even remember the guys. Oh God, it'll hit me. It'll come back to me. Stage hypnotist guys. I did Atlantic City and Vegas with a guy, and I'm blanking out on his name. One of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And I worked with another stage hypnotist. The same thing. Stage hypnotism is, if you've never seen it, if you've never worked with it, it is so amazing to watch that you actually can't believe it's real. And that's why those guys are not superstars. Everybody that I've ever talked to who has gone, like comedians who has gone to work with a stage hypnotist, usually they go, that is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And it's different every night. You can't even believe what you're seeing. You can't believe what you're watching. It's so hilariously entertaining. Way more than like a rope guy. Like,
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'd put that guy up there with a hypnotist.
Okay, maybe. I'd rather see him.
I think you could follow a hypnotist a little easier and be like, "Oh, look, okay, I'm a chicken. I'm a chicken." You know?
No, it isn't like that. It isn't like that. It's nothing like you've ever seen before. It's the most amazing thing to watch.
No,
Stage hypnotist.
It's cool. I've seen stuff where they, I've seen it. I just haven't, performed with guys. But yeah,
right. But it looks fake when you watch it. You think they're in on it, and they're not.
No, I buy it. I think it's a real thing. I know
That's fantastic. I don't know how that is fantastic. That looks like a Hasidic rabbi.
Basically, you look like a Hasidic rabbi. I would never wear those. I'd never wear those shoes. Never wear those shoes or that jacket.
Wow, that is.
I don't know what the internet's doing to me. But
I can't unsee that. Wait a minute. What was the prompt that made that happen? That's what I want to know. Okay, Adam.
I think it says it right there.
Yeah,
that's a Chafin rope comic.
Rope comic.
You wait a minute. You type into what? What program is that?
Hey, the AI knows me, Brian. Okay, calm it down.
Right.
No, I'm saying. Did you? All you had to type was Dustin Chafin rope comic, and that was what it spit out. That's amazing.
I uploaded one of his photos, and then
got it.
Yeah.
He had to do some stuff. It was better when I just thought the AI sprinted it out. Then you had to break the wall down.
Right.
I ruin.
You ruin everything. Yeah, you do. You ruin it all. I was fun thinking, hey, that's what the internet did. But you're
this is Fiddler on the Roof, but with a rope comic, right?
Fiddler on the barn roof.
That is really frightening. You're going to burst into song sunrise, sunset in the middle.
So what are some of the things that the hypnotist guy does? What's so great about it? Because I've seen it and it's not that great to me.
Dustin, I cannot. If I were to tell you,
give me something. Give me something.
Okay, he goes up to a guy. I'll never forget this. He goes up to a guy. And he goes up to everyone. He has 8 people on the stage, let's say 7 people. And he knows, he was so good at it. He knew how to eliminate people that weren't hypnotizable or suggestible.
Okay. That's huge, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so what it was an animal talent show. Okay. And he would say to the people, I'm going to put you under. And when you wake up, I'm going to count to 5 and you're going to have a pet. And he's going to have a special talent. It's like a stupid pet tricks kind of thing.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, and so he would put these people under, and then he would go, okay, 1, 2, 3, click. And then you'd see these people stroking an animal or something, this imaginary animal. It was amazing. One guy was this big, muscular Italian guy, and he goes, he was like the third guy, and he goes, what is your pet? He goes, it's a tiger. I got a pet tiger. And he goes, and what does your tiger do? And he says, he sings opera when I speak Italian to him. Right? Okay. He sings opera when I speak Italian to him. So he goes, oh, that's going to be great. So the guy just starts, and it's this big muscular Italian guy, not like Goomba guy from like Staten Island or something.
You don't think that guy was a plant?
Oh, Dustin, it was not a plant because I worked with that guy 2 shows a night for 2 weeks. There was never a repeat performance. It was amazing. Okay. And this was just some guy in the audience. And he goes, there's no way to do this. You would have to pay everyone and you'd have to have people come in. And I would know it because I watched him every night. So I would know it. I worked with him like 6 different weeks in different venues, and he goes. And he starts speaking. He starts speaking Italian, and then he just looks at the audience like the tiger is singing. Like he doesn't burst into song. The guy doesn't sing, but the tiger is singing, and he's like, look at my tiger, he's singing. It's from Aida, like and everyone clapped. It was so innocent and hilarious. It was like seeing kids on the stage. No self-consciousness. People absolutely. And the funniest thing was when he would say, now none of you are going to remember that you were on this stage until we get backstage after the show and outside the club. You're going to forget all of this. And he would go out and meet people outside, and they would ask him, and they would ask the people who were on the stage, how did you like the show? And they were like, I don't know. I wasn't really that into it. I didn't think it was that much fun or whatever. And then he would say, when I snap my fingers, you will remember everything. And then these people would be like, oh my God, right, dude. Wow. Like, it was the funniest. And it was every night. It was just crazy shit like that. And these people would be like, no, I didn't really. And he'd say, what did you think of the show? And he's like, I wasn't impressed. It just, I don't know. It seemed bored. I sort of zoned out.
Oh, wow.
And he's like,
do you think he abuses that power? Does he use it to pick up chicks and stuff?
I asked him about that. Believe me. Oh yeah, I asked him about that. He said, and he put me under because I wanted to see what it was like. And he said, it's fascinating. And what's amazing about hypnotism is you don't do anything you don't want to do, but when you're doing it, you can't think of a reason not to do it. Okay. Like if you said to you, I want you to like take off your top or something, a girl would be able to say no. She would say, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah. But he doesn't ask people to do anything on stage, at least, that they have total free will. Like you it's not like I'm going to go kill somebody. Yeah, he said, no, it doesn't work that way. You have absolute ability to not do something, but you can't think of any reason unless it's something offensive or something. But most of the stuff he has to do is very benign. Now you'll have to ask him about the women thing. It's like, he goes, women will be more, they might be more conducive, but they're not going to do something they don't really want to do. They won't do anything they don't want to do.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. Dustin is suddenly not interested. Suddenly,
you can't use it to pick up chicks. What's the point of hypnotizing?
Yeah. Okay.
No, I think it's
going to save Cosby a lot of trouble. It's going to save Cosby a lot.
Wow, there we go. Yeah, it's fascinating. The whole thing. I remember I think my dad, this boxing thing, my parents really try to do this boxing promoting thing and the whole, and I remember one of the guys involved was a hypnotist, and he would sometimes try to hypnotize fighters, and he would try to, basically hypnotize them to be, like
better.
Like you're meaner and like you're laser focused and, whatever, whatever a fighter would need to be hypnotized, about. But it's
Ricky Kalman. Ricky Kalman is the guy's name.
See if we bring up a picture of Ricky Kalman. I hope he's out there. I hope he's working. It sounds great because, I think, it's.
But finish the story about the boxer thing.
No, it was just like that was part of the thing where he bought into this boxer that we had, a heavyweight, a Mexican heavyweight, because there was not a lot of Mexican heavyweights, and so we thought we were going to be we were going to have the guy, and he hypnotized him, I think, for a fight, and then I think it backfired because what ended up happening is he basically, I think it was some sort of like you're a beast and all that stuff, and what ended up happening is it was like a first TV fight. They had this HSN, which is Home Sports Network. It was like a knockoff of ESPN or whatever.
Yeah.
But he was fighting. It was like third round, broke his hand, but didn't feel it, and just kept boxing. Like I think it was like maybe a 6-round fight or something. I don't know. It was shorter than a regular 8 or 10, but it really messed up his hand, where the point where he was like, jacked it up. It's like broke it in all these different places and basically ruined, he got fat and drank beer after, the whole thing was just like, he didn't do the recovery right. But anyway, it was almost like it was too intense for something like that. So you have to be careful with what you're you're putting out there.
Wow.
You know,
yeah, you've got absolute power.
Because I guess if you tell a guy like they're, you know, like you know, fire won't hurt them or whatever. I mean, I'm sure they could do stuff like that, you know, where it's just like maybe they don't feel the flame. I don't know how it all works, but it's very voodoo. It's scary shit. It's very voodoo.
Yeah, well, there was that,
you know,
there's that thing that was really popular for a while where, you know, there it is, Ricky Kalman. There he is.
Good job.
Yeah,
that guy looks like a hypnotist and a serial killer. I don't know which one, but
and a rope guy.
And a rope. Right. Yeah, you don't need ropes when you can hypnotize people to pretend they have ropes.
You don't need ropes. No, there was a thing for motivational speaker stuff. There was a thing where a long time they would make people walk on hot coals.
Oh yes,
you know.
I didn't know they hypnotized them though. I thought that was
no, they didn't. My point being, they didn't. That was the whole thing. Was they would just like, and Dennis Miller had that great joke about it. You know, like where he'd go, what's this new thing where they make people walk on hot coals to get their life together? Yeah, there's a real direct causal relationship there. You know, like you know, and the joke was something. It was when we can get a. Yeah, I forget what the joke was. It was something about like get the Kingsford people involved and Kingsford charcoal, and there was a cross promotional thing. Can we get a cross promotional thing? Yeah, good. You know, something like a burning. Yeah, there's my burning flesh. This will get my this will get pull my life together. But supposedly, then some people did burn their feet and sued the Anthony Robbins or something. I read about that Anthony Robbins got sued or something. Like actually did burn their feet. I don't know what the point
that's early days on when people didn't realize the power of a contract, a rider or whatever. What's the thing you sign or whatever? What's that thing called?
Yeah. Like if you had hung yourself with the rope.
But I didn't sign anything, so I wouldn't have got anything.
Or somebody got puked on by Stevie Starr. Wait, what's this?
Stevie Starr. Why? What happened? What are you looking at?
Wait, who's? I'm hearing some. Hold on, I'm hearing
voices in your head.
Stuff in my. Yeah,
in your head.
Suddenly hearing interference.
Hearing stuff in your head. I think you're. I think that the hypnotist stuff's coming back. It's just you opened up that portal,
and then there's no closing it.
Well, you're lucky you didn't hypnotize you, and then you're like, you wake up and you're like, you have like, you know, underwear on over your jeans or something.
Well, that was the thing he said. He said you won't do anything that you don't really want to do, and when you're in it, you go, yeah, I could not do this, but I can't think of a reason not to, because he's not asking me to do anything that I would feel offended by. See, so it's just like,
I think it's like this is interesting. I think it's like. I just hate it when they clump everything in with comedy. I think that's the only problem I have with it. I think it's a show. I think it's funny and it's definitely entertaining. And I think it holds its own by itself. I don't think you even need stand-ups on the show. I think it's its own thing. I think magic sometimes with regular comedy. I don't love it. You know, I feel like I'm all about my separatist when it comes to my art. You know? Well, I don't want an improv guy. And a stand up and a musician. Just separate it. Like let's have a comedy show. Let's have a hypnotist show. Let's have a magic show. That's all.
Well, if you got somebody like
rope
Bo
show,
Burnham,
have one rope show.
But you got like a guy like Bo Burnham who's talented and writes songs and also does comedy, and he's a stand-up as well. So it's kind of tricky.
But he doesn't do it anymore, and I think it probably has. I think probably has a lot to do with not being accepted as in the community like a Burr or a Chappelle. I bet it had something to do with that. I mean, he's a great director now, so it's like he can do anything. That guy, but I don't know. I feel like. I don't think he's performing at all. Really, I don't think he does any of that. But yeah, isn't that because he's got stage fright or social anxiety or something? Like, what kind of crap is that? You know, it's like, who doesn't have that? Who doesn't have that? Who doesn't have? You have that. I have that. We all have that. Who doesn't have that?
Of course I do. Yes.
We've talked about it, off stage and talked about it. Like, we all have stuff. Yeah, certain clubs bring it out of you, whatever. Like, we've had discussions about this.
Yes, but some people have contraphobic behavior where they actually go into the pit. Well, whatever it is,
but he's a whole nother basis. He's a whole nother thing. I mean, you're saying musical comedy doesn't belong. I didn't quite put that in there, but I was
no. I'm saying that Burnham when I watched him do stand-up, he was able to weave music into actually smart stand-up, whereas some people use music as a crutch because they can't do stand-up. Burnham never struck me as a guy who couldn't do stand-up without music. It just seemed like he was a multi-talented guy who used all of the aspects of his talents on stage. So, you know, he was funny as a comic, you know, and then there was like, what's his name? Dimitri Martin did art stuff and kind of creative, weird visual stuff in his acting.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that stuff. I feel like it's, I don't know. I used to like it. And then now I'm just kind of like, it feels cheap when people, you know.
That's because, I mean, also we, as purists when it comes to our art form and knowing that we don't have those things to fall back on, it forces us to be like really revere the people who can do it without any of that, because we're so naked on stage, like doing, all I have are my friggin' jokes, like the little drummer boy.
Yeah.
You know, you know, all I have is my little drum. And if you know, and then you have this, you can play the keyboards. I'm like, oh God, dude, if I could do that, you know.
Well, you have the ability to make somebody, you know, be a monkey doing taxes or whatever, hypnotist thing. It's like, you have this other thing that you can do. Yeah, I mean, there are some guys that make me laugh and they're talented with the guitar and stuff. And I have a couple of friends that do it and stuff.
Well, let me just say, Adam and Dustin, if you ever have a chance to go see a stage hypnotist, okay, I'm literally telling you this.
Let's all go. Let's go, and then we'll be hypnotized. That'll be part of the show. We'll tape it.
My comedy buddies who were very cynical, they go, "Oh, a stage hypnotist," and then I said, I want you to watch Ricky Kalman. I want you to work with him. When you work with him, you won't believe what you're seeing. It'll be the most entertaining thing. You won't miss a minute of
I'm
any
sure
show.
I'll love it. I love magic. I love all this stuff. I just don't like I just don't, just clump it together. I don't think it's fair, because the comics, it's like we can only do so much with our jokes. And then this guy's like making a whole audience, like, do jumping jacks or whatever he's doing.
It's unfair. It's so unfair.
Follow that. So get out of here.
I can't. Yeah, we've also been traumatized by having to follow people who were, guitar acts or somebody that really like gets an audience like screaming. Like if it's a musical thing, it's like
Robin Williams.
Yeah. Or Robin Williams. Yeah. Twice. I had to follow Robin.
Yeah.
Twice.
I had a hard time following Lewis Black when he was hungry. That was that wasn't easy.
Yeah.
But it's we learned a lot today. But I always feel like I think I would be a good prop comic. Like I feel like I went to Parsons. It's like the Harvard of art schools. Like I have an artistic thing, and I paint whatever. Like I feel like I could probably pull off some pretty creative props. Like I felt like it's something that I would like to do. Like I would like to be an in the closet prop guy. Like I just like if I could go in disguise, that would be funny. Where you just like like prosthetics and whatever, and you have some goofy name, and then I just blow up, and then I just rip it off. It's me, remember me? Dustin Chafin.
What about Steve Martin? What about Steve Martin? Steve Martin played the banjo. He was a musical
I don't love
guy.
Steve Martin as the comic. I think this is what I love about Steve Martin. Hear me out. It was the 70s. People were doing a lot of drugs. There was, I always say there was only like 12 comics. And his Saturday Night Live stuff, catapulted him into this stardom. And he was always hilarious on there. And it was everybody watched Saturday Night Live. And everybody watched. This is when we had 4 channels or whatever. So it was like, and he's so talented. That's the last man on earth I'm going to be dissing as a performer or entertainer or a writer. But I do feel it was like a bit easier when there wasn't as many of us out here doing jokes. Like your joke, like you're trying to write a joke on the woke thing. Like, well, Burr's doing this or this. Like there wasn't a lot of that happening. Everybody was like free to do whatever because there was hardly any comics. So I don't know if Steve Martin now would have the same impact. A guy, doing that kind of stuff. I mean, maybe a TikTok, maybe that's where it would lie. He would be like a wild and crazy guy. He'd be on TikTok in a white suit,
Right. But Steve Martin used to go on like the Tonight Show and Letterman, and he would always have these set pieces. He didn't do straight stand up. Yeah. He would just do these weird, amazing
phenomenal
pieces where
he did a set one time in front of the dogs, and like he set the dogs up and he's doing stand up to the dogs. Brilliant guy. However, I do feel like I mean it's like that's how open stand-up comedy was, where that was hilarious because there was nothing to really gauge it against. It was basically because it's Red Skeleton, it's all this early stuff, it's like Jackie Mason, all that Catskills stuff. Then this opens up Saturday Night Live and like Pryor and all this like drug-esque kind of wild and crazy guy stuff. And so, and then the character-driven comedy was big. It's like he wears the white suit. He's Steve Martin. Dangerfield's wearing the red tie. Everybody's like very specific, kind of. Even Gallagher was gigantic at that time. Oh yeah, and that's a problem. And I like Gallagher. I feel like Gallagher was probably the most I laughed at as a child. Like if I watched Richard Pryor, I probably understood about half of it. But Gallagher, I got the whole thing.
Gallagher was weird because I would see Gallagher on like the Merv Griffin show. You would see like him on these weird. You would see him on Midnight Special or something. You would see him on these weird American Bandstand or whatever. I can't remember. Maybe not American Bandstand, but there was these other eclectic shows. Yeah, there is.
I mean, it doesn't get any funnier than that. And he's lost this one on the right, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
This one's about to walk. He's about to walk this poodle.
He's walking out.
But that's the thing. It's very Kaufman. It's very weird. Like you could get away with that then because it was the 70s, and 70s was the best time for music. It was the best time for experimental comedy. Like it was just you could put on an Elvis suit and act crazy. You could do, it was just wide open. Now the market it's very flooded, and it's like you really have to do a lot to stand out. And
that's what I'm wondering if someone in any art form or any other in stand up, or there's someone will always come along to either like Steve Martin was making fun of show business. A lot of that stuff was very meta. A lot of the stuff he was doing was like, I'm a jerk in show business. I'm commenting on the fact that I'm a jerk. It's like,
I don't think people got that, like entertainers got that. But I think people were just like, and when he played, the Astrodome or whatever, like it was like, I think he did a joke where he said, how many people got cats? And like, everybody's like, half the crowd's like, and he goes, 9, and that kind of thing. But it's like, he was, but it's a different thing, There's just But I feel like if you did a King Tut song right now, it would just be a TikTok and that's it. I don't think it would be on a multi, platinum album. I don't think so. I think it would be a big TikTok hit.
Yeah. Somebody might come along on become an Instagram superstar with a song or something like.
Well, that's already happening. That's already happening.
Sandler. Oh, I know. I know.
It's already happening. I think Sandler's the best. I think we'll go back to this music thing. I think Bo Burnham is a genius and has his own thing going, but he doesn't make me laugh like Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler, I think he's the perfect example of somebody that's able to fuse the music thing, because I've seen Sean Lynch, I've seen guys that are good at it, Dennis Blair, guys that are good at it, but Sandler is the best at it, and he's able to make you laugh. He can write a song like that. I don't know if you saw his Saturday Night Live 50-year anniversary song. It was hilarious. Great. But he's that guy. He has that mind for it. And you also, when he pulls out the guitar, you get excited, as opposed to most comics who pull out the guitar, you're like, here we go. Like even when I saw Stephen Wright, I saw him in Vegas like several years ago, probably like 20 years ago. And he's one of my favorites. That's how I learned how to write jokes, listening to I Have a Pony over and over and over and over. And I remember, he gets up to 30 minutes. It's like those perfect, 30 minutes. It's like, C-section, crawl out of the window, blah, blah, blah. Perfect joke. Bucky Goldstein, all that stuff. 30 minutes. And then after 30, here comes the guitar. And he gets,
I didn't know he played guitar.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. And then the next half is all guitar. And it's just like strumming, doing songs. And,
I did not know that.
And they're kind of like, like his stand-up, meta and weird and whatever, and nice misdirects. But it's still, it's still the guitar and the songs, and it's fine. It's that that ridiculous repressed voice, and so the songs are a little funnier. But it's but it's still like, because I don't think you could sustain sometimes. I don't think I could see Rodney Dangerfield for more than 30 minutes, and same with Stephen Wright. It's like after a while, you're like, all right, man, I got to know who you are.
That's something that no one really talks about. Is that back then, Stephen Wright was like in small sound bites. You didn't watch 45-minute special, and I don't know if you really could.
Even Jeselnik, I'm good for 15, and he's great. He's a great comic, and I like that he's true to himself, and like he's doing something that's kind of old school, and it's fun, and it's this dark misdirect thing, and it's great. And he's an excellent comic, but I just, I just don't, I just don't. I just can't do it.
So that's an interesting dynamic. Is like those are. We're talking about Stephen Wright. We're talking about Rodney Dangerfield. We're talking about two of the greatest comics like of all time. That revered by comics. And then you go, if you go to a Stephen Wright show for 45 minutes to an hour, there's very little like change in emotional dynamic there. Like you go to a Bill Burr show, it's all over the map. Like there's hot peaks and valleys, and
it's some of it is amazing, some of it's not, which I like that stuff too, because he's just being real and it's spewing out. And so
But what about Mitch Hedberg? Because Mitch Hedberg, I could probably sit through a lot of that.
That's different. That's different. I think Hedberg is kind of Stephen Wright 2.0. Like there's still some evolution to it, even though it's character-esque, like his voice and his delivery. I still feel you're getting a little more of who he is.
That's true.
You like drugs, and he talked about certain things, and like certain things of who he was, even though it's under the realm, of that kind of style of comedy. It's still, and like when he's bombing, he'll like turn around and talk to the curtain, and set on the steps, and like you feel the emotion of a person on stage, whereas opposed to somebody like Wright or Dangerfield, it's just they don't break the thing, Yeah,
and I think I saw Rodney live. I don't know where. Like it was an outdoor music festival or something, and they were yelling for him to do "Shake It Up, Baby," like Twist and Shout, and he wouldn't do it, or he had a band. It was or something. You go, no, we don't have the band. We don't have the band. Sorry, and everyone's going, do it, Twist and Shout. It was during the whole heyday of like, and I'm trying to remember what that was. I was performing somewhere and I got in free, or I don't remember, but it was like he was on the big stage, and that was amazing. And he killed, but I think he did do some kind of band music stuff at the end or something, but he didn't do Twist and Shout, or he didn't have the band. I can't remember. But how would you sustain that for 45 minutes? I don't know. I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw Rickles, it was the same kind of thing. It was 30 minutes of Rickles, and then the other thing, he's singing songs, and like just ridiculous. He's trying to be Frank Sinatra. You're like, stop, dude.
I want to do a song.
I did a song. I did a song on this album. I did a country song, and it was making fun of a country song. It was kind of like a Johnny Cash. It was kind of more spoken word country, but it was it was my attempt at a Johnny Cash style song.
Crank that up, Adam.
Called Country.
Adam, where are you with that?
Country in the city. Country in the city. Is the name of it?
Adam, where are you? You got to get on this, right? Great way to end the show is we get a fade out on
Country to the
song,
City. Country to the City. I think that's what it was called. Country to the City.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's the way. We vamp until we get to the end, and Dustin's song takes us out. Take us out. Perfect song to take us out is Dustin's.
You can play the video. Play the video. I think it's up there. It should be up there somewhere. Country to the City. Is it up there?
I just have the song, not the video.
Okay. The video.
So if you don't want to play that, then next time I'm going to play the song I I created with AI for my current defense show.
That doesn't count. AI songs don't count. I actually did this
that.
with a real producer and everything.
Oh, no. I wrote at least that, but the lyrics are all mine, so I get something. Okay.
Not really. It's too easy.
Oh, you got to be a jerk. Can't give me anything. Okay. You can't give me anything.
All right. It's just taking too long. It's taking too long. It's fine.
We gotta edit this in post. We gotta fix this in post because it would be a smooth transition.
I know.
So artful, so smooth and artful.
People, you can't find that video.
Yeah, I'm trying. I can't find the video.
Put Stevie Star back on. Can we have some video of Stevie Star vomiting to take us out if we can't get Dustin?
The video is really funny. I think I was proud of the video. Let me see. It's got to be out there. Country to the City. It's a classic.
No, nothing. We got nothing.
Country to the City.
We got. Well, I guess not. Let's see. All right. Well,
Brian doesn't do well with silence. We cut all this. Cut all this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird.
I can't find the video, but
it was.
I got the song. We could go into the song.
All right, we can go to the song. That's fine.
All right. Where is it?
I thought we had the song.
Here we go.
Just give us a song. That's all we need.
All right, hold on. I got to share the screen.
Oh, my God. What do we got here? There it is.
Perfect.
Had a real studio musician play that riff. Doesn't sound very good.
To a bagel a day.
Can't really hear it.
Yeah, you can't hear it. There's
I
got
can
to
have fried chicken delivered to my door. Where I come from, you worry about a bear attack. Sure you got something in your gun rack.
Okay, this is not doing it justice. I pulled it off. This is just horrible audio, so it's not pulling it.
No,
you're not able to hear it.
We got enough of a taste. Okay.
It was, the video. It's unfortunate you can't find the video. Maybe we'll find the video and I'll send it to you. We'll find it.
All right. We'll play it over. We have to load it up on the next show.
All right. You got a lot of chip chop here at the end there, Adam. Sorry.
Yep.
And find some.
You have to sew this. You're gonna have to sew those together. This is the Frankenstein episode.
This is what we need. We need a video of Stevie Star vomiting up something during and have Dustin's song playing. Not a commentary on your song. I like your song, but just as like a mashup.
Everything we'll do it. We'll do Brian's song too. I'll try to be more open-minded to the AI songwriting. But,
Thank you.
But this was pre-AI, so it's like I feel like a lot of people. I know.
I know.
We tried to
look. I'm not proud of it. It was available.
It happens,
and I was stunned by the.
Did you sing it like Did you sing it like Rick Ocasek or something? I feel like that's.
I didn't sing it at all. I didn't sing it at all. I wrote all the lyrics and
you didn't sing it. What do you mean you didn't sing it? Oh, get out of here! I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. Yeah.
Now I'm angry. Okay.
You should at least sing it.
I sung it. I just said this is an example of a musical thing that is shows the versatility of whatever. Anyway, never mind. The point is, we've got something.
Well, I got a bit next week I want to work on, but we'll get there.
Good.
This is a fun episode. We kind of went somewhere else today. It was fun.
Yes.
It was good.
All right. You got
it. But I'm going to say it before I leave, though, and we'll work on it next week. My brother, I found out, lied to his children about graduating college and playing football at North Texas, and none of that happened. And I just found that out when I went back home from Texas. That he's been lying to his kids about going to college, which he never went to. He never went to college. And then playing football, which I think that's what pissed me off was the football thing. Really? Then you got to up me. I went to college, but I can't compete with this fantasy football life you have.
Yeah. No, this is fantastic.
All right, we'll get it next time.
All right.
God bless America. Rock and roll.
Well, folks, that's our show. It's time for us to go. Make sure to follow us, give us a like, drop us a comment, and always subscribe. We're chasing comedy on all the socials. We hope you had a gas. had some laughs, and maybe you learned something too. Until next time, we're Brian and Dustin, and we're chasing comedy.